Hello, my name is Amber, and I'm here with my co host.
I'm Anastasia.
I'm Daniela.
And I'm Gabriel.
And today's episode is all about love, but not just any love. We're talking about how love was portrayed in ancient Greek times. And whoa, the Greeks saw love as something pretty intense and complex.
Definitely. The Greeks didn't see love as just romance or affection. It was a powerful, sometimes very dangerous force, often unpredictable. There's a passage we were reading earlier that said, for the ancient Greeks, eros, which could be translated as yearning or passionate desire, was a matter of life and death, even a danger to avoid. That really shows how intense their view of love was.
Right. In Greek tragedies, eros could be just as destructive as it was uplifting. A great example of this is Sophocles' Antigone. Antigone's devotion to her brother, Polynices, is so fierce that it leads her to defy King Creon's orders, risking her life just to bury him. It's like her love goes beyond family loyalty. It becomes this all-consuming force.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because she talks about lying next to her brother in death and compares her fate to a marriage with death. It's almost like her love has a romantic or erotic intensity, and that intensity drives her to the point of no return, all for the deeply personal and moral commitment.
It's exactly as I thought. Her love and loyalty go so far that they're almost self-destructive. And she's not alone in that. Think of Ophradaos and Arrhidaeus. Ophradaos was so in love with Arrhidaeus that he ventured into the underworld to bring her back. But his inability to resist looking back at her just before reaching safety leads her to permanent loss. Is this tragedy a reminder of how love can be both beautiful and heartbreaking?
Totally. And it's not just the women in these stories who are willing to risk everything for love. Take Achilles in the Iliad. His love for Patroclus is so deep that when Patroclus is killed, he is left devastated, and his grief is so intense that it drives him back into battle, risking his life just to avenge his friend. It's a love that brings out incredible courage, but also intense suffering.
And with Achilles and Patroclus, there's even debate on whether their relationship was purely platonic or something deeper. Either way, it's an intense bond that moves Achilles to some pretty extreme actions. That's a theme in a lot of Greek myths. Love is often shown as something that pushes people beyond their limits.
Yeah, and that theme isn't just in stories but in Greek philosophy too. Like in Plato's Symposium, different characters discuss what they believe love is for. Socrates, channeling Diotima, talks about love as the ladder of ascent. You start with physical attraction, then climb up to a love of the mind, and finally reach pure beauty and truth. It's like love is a journey to find something divine.
Which is a fascinating contrast to how love is portrayed in those tragedies. Plato shows love as this transformative force that leads to wisdom and understanding. For Socrates, love isn't just desire. It's a divine madness that pushes people towards the truth. In fact, in Phaedrus, he argues that the love can be a kind of madness, but not necessarily one. He believes it's a gift from the gods, helping us reach higher levels.
And that's so different from what we see today, right? We have phrases like friends with benefits, which is almost the complete opposite of what Socrates would believe of.
Definitely. And then there's Paris and Helen. Paris' love, or maybe his obsession with Helen, is so powerful that it leads to the Trojan War and the destruction of Troy. This shows how to the Greeks, love could be catastrophic. It wasn't just a personal emotion, but something that could ripple out and impact entire societies.
And don't forget about Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Her influence is often unpredictable and capricious. She's seen as embodying both beauty and chaos. In some myth, like the story of Pygmalion, her influence brings happiness, but in others, her action leads to disaster. It's like love is both a gift and a curse.
True. I mean, her presence in these stories underlined that love was almost seen as something beyond human control, like a divine force that we just had to accept for better or worse.
And that's what I think makes these stories so timeless. The Greeks understood love as something that could bring out both the best and the worst in us. And it wasn't always about romantic love. There's also philia, or friendship, which they saw as a powerful bond. Plato even imagines an army made up entirely of people in love with each other. He thought they'd be the most courageous army ever, willing to fight even harder for the ones that they loved.
Yeah, the Greeks were really ahead of their time in understanding love's different forms. You had eros for passion, philia for friendship, agape for selfless love, and storge for familial love. Each had its place, and each came with its own risk and rewards.
Exactly. Even modern philosophers recognize how complex love is. Jean-Luc Marion argues that love isn't irrational, but actually follows a greater rationality. If love looks like madness, it's because it's operating on a deeper logic that connects us to something beyond ourselves. Like Blaise Pascal said, the heart has its own reason, which reason knows nothing of.
So to wrap things up, love for the Greeks wasn't just an emotion. It's a powerful and often uncomfortable force that could lead people to greatness or to ruin. Whether it was romantic, platonic, or even divine, love was seen as transformative for better or worse. Through myths, tragedies, and philosophy, they explored every facet of love.
And that's why these ancient stories still resonate with us today. They remind us that love is complex and can challenge us in ways we don't always expect or understand. Whether we're thinking about love as a journey toward truth or as a force that brings out our deepest desires, the Greeks understood that it was never that simple.
Yeah, it's a reminder that love can inspire courage, loyalty, and wisdom, but it can also lead to heartbreak and tragedy. It's an incredible human experience, and these Greeks captured that perfectly.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of love in ancient Greek culture. We hope this episode got you thinking about the power and complexity of love in your own life.
And feel free to share your thoughts and stories about love. Until next time, stay curious.
Bye.